Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Before we start with our today's practice questions, we have an announcement. BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS is happy to launch our official Telegram channel. All the new initiatives with respect to the current affairs will be updated on our Telegram channel. What is that you have to do? Scan the QR code or the link will be given in the description box. It will take you to Telegram and all that you have to do is join our channel to get the updates with respect to the current affairs. Let's get started and look into the first question. Which of the following are the examples of residual mountains? Aravalli, Girnar Hills, Javadi Hills, Nilgiri Hills. The answer to this is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Let's look into the next question. Consider the following statements with respect to Aravalli Range. It acts as a major barrier preventing the spread of the desert. The highest peak is Guru Shikhar. All the rivers in Rajasthan originate from the slopes of the Aravalli Range. Which of the statements given above are correct? The answer to this is 1 and 2 only. Why have we taken both these practice questions? That is because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to the Aravallis. Let us try and understand what are these options. When we look into the first question, which of the following are the examples of residual mountains? All the four are the examples of residual mountains. And as part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section which are the other residual mountains which are present in India. You should also give the examples of other mountains which are present world over. As an example, let me give you Ural Mountains is an example of the residual mountains world over, and you have to put other mountains on the comment section. So what are these residual mountains? These are also called as relic mountains. These are also called as the circum-erosional mountains. Basically, these are the mountains that have been subjected to weathering and erosion for a continuous period of time, and because they have been subjected to erosion, they are called as residual mountains, relic mountains or circum-erosional mountains. So the residual mountains owe their current shape because of the erosion by the rivers, or it can be because of the glaciers, or it can also be because of the wind as well. So these agents like the rivers, glaciers and the wind erode the soft rocks on the top of the mountain, and they leave behind the hard rocks behind. These hard rocks are known as the residual mountains. Now let's look into the next question's explanation. Consider the following statements with respect to Aravalli Range. Yes, the Aravalli Range is like acting as a barrier. It prevents the extinction of the deserts because of this presence. So the Aravalli Range is acting as a barrier. The first statement is right. When you look into the second statement, yes, the highest peak happens to be Mount Guru Shikhar, and all the rivers in Rajasthan originate from the slopes of the Aravalli Range. This is a wrong statement. If you look into the stats, it is the oldest range of fold mountains in India. Three major rivers and their tributaries flow from the Aravallis, namely Banas, Sahibi and Luni, and Ranthambore National Park in Rajasthan is in this Aravalli Range. So remember, all of these facts can be very important from the preliminary examination point of view. Now let's look into the next practice question. Najah is a joint military training exercise between India and Bahrain, Oman, Qatar and United Arab Emirates. The answer to this is Oman. So Najah happens to be a joint military training exercise between the Indian Army and the Royal Oman Army, and the aim of this exercise is basically to build and promote bilateral armies relationship between India and Oman. So basically this will enhance the interoperability, and at the same time both these armies would be able to exchange their skills as well as experiences. Added to it, when we speak about Najah, it is an advantage for India. How? As of now, India is exposed to multiple circumstances. Let's say, for example, we have the northeast where there is insurgency as well. At the northwestern borders, we have the Pakistan as well. At the northeastern borders, we also have China as well. So the Indian army is exposed to multiple kind of circumstances. So these skills that have been learned by the Indian army can be taught to the Oman army as well, and at the same time these people would be able to learn a lot from the Indian army. So the conduct of joint exercise would therefore set the stage for greater defense cooperation between both the countries, and it will further cement the relationship, and at the same time both will have the cordial relationship in the near future. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to Al-Najah. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following are correctly matched? We have the Kerch Strait, which is between Black Sea with the Sea of Azov, Strait of Messina, Tyrrhenian Sea with the Ionian Sea, and Strait of Dover, which connects North Sea with the English Channel. Which of the following are correctly matched? What we have is 1, 2, and 3. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to the Black Sea. Now, if we look into the image, what we have is the Strait of Messina. The Strait of Messina connects the Ionian Sea with the Tyrrhenian Sea. Then what we have is the Strait of Dover. It connects the North Sea with the English Channel. And finally, we have the Kerch Strait. It connects the Sea of Azov with the Black Sea. So all the three that are given here are correctly matched. So the answer to this would be 1, 2, and 3. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. Vietnam has been one of the fastest growing economies in the world in the recent years. Vietnam is led by a multi-party political system. Vietnam's economic growth is linked to its integration with global supply chains and focus on exports. For a long time, Vietnam's low labor costs and stable exchange rates have attracted global manufacturers. Vietnam has the most productive e-service sector in the Indo-Pacific region. Which of the statements given above are correct? The answer to this is 1, 3, and 4 only. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2022. So remember, when we speak about the second statement, it is wrong. That is because Vietnam is led not by a multi-party political system, but it has a one-party socialist republic state. So second statement is wrong. When you look into the fifth statement, Vietnam has the most productive e-service sector in the Indo-Pacific. This once again is wrong. 2 and 5 is rooted out. So the answer to this would be 1, 3, and 4. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is space junk or space debris. What is this space debris? Basically, the space debris can be divided into two main categories. One is what is called as the natural space junk. The other happens to be the man-made space junk. What is this natural space debris? Basically, the meteoroids are at times considered as the natural space debris. Then we have the man-made ones, which basically includes the spacecrafts and the satellites, stages of the rockets, payloads, dead satellites, satellite explosions, collisions, all this falls under the man-made space debris. Now, if we look into the statistics, there are about 2000 active satellites orbiting Earth at the moment. There are also 3000 dead ones littering the space. There are around 34,000 pieces of space junk bigger than 10 centimeters in size, and millions of smaller pieces that could nonetheless prove disasters if they hit something else. So these are the ones which are present in the space, which are not being used currently. They are dumped. They are the junk that are operating in the space, which is called as the space debris. Why are we discussing about it? That is because we have one of the rockets called as the Long March 5B of China. This blasted off on July 24th to deliver a laboratory module to the new Chinese space station that is under construction in orbit. Currently, the debris from this large Chinese rocket crashed into the Earth over the Pacific and the Indian Ocean. That is why we are discussing about the space junk. Also remember, this article makes a mention of uncontrolled return. What is this uncontrolled return? When we speak about the rockets, what we have is the first stage or the core sector. The first stage is made up of heavy pieces that usually does not reach the orbit after the liftoff, but falls back safely along a precise projected trajectory. So the minute the rocket is launched, you would have the satellite which will be placed in the orbit, but the first stage which is set by the rocket falls off in a desired path as designed by that particular organization. But in the present situation, what is happening? The re-entry of this particular rocket is not as per the expectation, but it is following in a haphazard manner, which is what is called as uncontrolled re-entry. So uncontrolled re-entry basically means the rocket is not falling in a designated path, but instead it can can fall anywhere on earth, which is called as the uncontrolled re-entry. Why is it difficult to track uncontrolled descents? That is because we have multiple problems. One, there is atmospheric drag, there is variations in the solar activity, angle and rotational variation of the object, many other things act in the space, and as a result we won't be able to control them if it is uncontrolled entry. There have been similar such examples in the past as well, so this is not the first time that it is happening with China. There have been previous instances as well. In 2021, pieces of another Long March rocket landed in the Indian Ocean. In 2020, an 18-ton rocket fell uncontrolled. In 2016, country's first space station Tiong crashed into the Pacific Ocean after Beijing confirmed it lost control. So this is not the first time that China is engaging in such activity. It has also happened in the past as well. So are there laws that regulate the space junk? Yes, we do have the laws as well. The Space Liability Convention of 1972 defines responsibility in case of a space object causing the harm. The treaty says that a launching state shall be absolutely liable to pay compensation for the damage caused by its space objects on the surface of the earth or to the aircraft, and liable for the damage due to its faults in the space. The convention also provides for procedures for settlement of claims for the damages. What do we mean by it? Let's say, for example, in this case what we have is China. It is the China space debris which has fallen into the Indian Ocean. Since it is China's, in case this particular component has fallen into any other country, so China has to pay the compensation. So if, let's say for example, Vietnam is impacted, China has to pay the compensation. Or let's say Bangladesh is hit by the space debris, then China has to pay compensation. So whosoever's rocket or the space debris has fallen in a particular country, they have to pay the compensation to another country. The only settlement till down using the liability convention was between the erstwhile Soviet Union and Canada over the debris of Soviet Cosmos 954 falling in a barren region. Canada was paid CAD 3 million in accordance with the international law for cleaning up the mess. So the compensation will be happening as per this convention. And NASA in the past has also requested China that whenever you are initiating a mission, please to give us the data, please keep this process and the mission transparent, so that in case there is any eventuality, the world is able to take care of itself. But China, as we all know, has not been transparent as well. This is why NASA has also criticized some of the operations of China. Now if you look into this article, it clearly goes on to say that China rocket debris crashes into the Indian Ocean. As of now, we do not know the impact of it, but we have had similar instances, and China has failed to learn from such initiatives that it has taken in the past. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.